Alright, guys, how is everyone doing tonight? I'm gonna actually have a beer for once because my birthday is literally in a week. I figure, why not have a nice drink before the podcast actually starts? Let me roll out the political beliefs, the political train, and, shit on my day-to-day basis, right? I'm not a big fan of Bud Light, but it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna get to the point here. Let me talk about the death penalty laws, especially when it comes to race. I couldn't really title this the way I wanted to, because I have a firm belief, with the death penalty, it has not been. Let's talk about public execution first, right? The last time we ever had an actual public execution that was broadcast, it was Jeffrey Dahmer. The guy who would eat hearts out and collect body parts and all that, the weird things, skulls in his house. He would chop up body parts. A creep. But you get a guy, or we haven't had a public execution like that. We're not like China where we take people and then, we take them and then you don't hear about them, and then they get locked up in an asylum and then they disappear. Our country's not like that. Thank God, because that's fucking creepy. That's like the UK where they bag people, the secret police. They just bag them, put a bag over their heads, and they're gone. But China was sort of the same way when they were trying to hide coronavirus in the beginning. Excuse me, indigestion. But let me get to the point here. The death laws in the United States, the death penalty is something that it's been around. It's still in use. Certain other states have reopened the shooting, firing squad, an electric chair, which is like a 109-year-old electric chair that South Carolina is trying to re-promote. If you go down below in my description, you can read an article about that, which I find very interesting, that they want to push the laws onto convicted criminals that were sentenced as criminals while the laws were pending, that they can only get lethal injection. Lethal injection, the quick and easy way to go out without any pain, no suffering, no nothing. Whereas electric chair and a firing squad's painful. They don't have to shoot to kill, and the electric chair takes time to kill you. So it kind of it's pick the one thing that kills you slower. I mean, they both kill you just as slow and painful. Whereas lethal injection, quick and easy. What astounds me to this is the big brain thing is there's more people that OD on drugs, just regular drugs off the street, that they can buy for a couple $100, maybe pills or whatever, and they're doing stupid shit like Percocet and popping bad pills and all that, LSD, whatever the fuck. I've seen fucking drug addicts, they're terrible. But there are people that are ODing just as easily as, in comparison to a firing squad. You gotta remember how much ammo costs. You know how much an AK-47, just one AK-47 and rifle rounds cost? A lot. Thousands. Altogether, thousands of dollars. It's fucking insanity. But that's just rifles. Then you gotta take into account the electric chair. How much electricity do you need to use for a human being's hearts to stop and die? It comes down to a factor of cost and materials. Is it worth doing this for the death penalty? And what astounds me is, going back to that, couldn't, I don't know, the people that are assigned to be executioners in private learn how to mix up these, drugs that people are ODing on, these opioids that are fucking people up and killing them, just as fast as, opium in feudal Japan back in the fucking day, where it was just powder, and they would say, oh, this is medicine, it'll help you get better, and it's hardened fucking cocaine that fucking kills them. Because it's purified multiple times over and not really grained down correctly for medical use or medical terms. But again, multiple chemicals and drugs that you find that are illegal can be broken down for medical purposes and used vice versa in other things. And it's very difficult to really explain that. I'm not a chemist, but I'm not too far off to say that you could turn something from a liquid to a gas, and that gas be used to make another type of liquid if heated with a certain type of liquid. And I don't know. That's a chemist's job. That's not mine. But the point I'm trying to make is that you got people in the world that should be getting the death penalty. That don't. And I'm not just saying let's kill all the stupid people because the coronavirus is already doing that. That's like the natural selection virus. As fucked up as that is to say, I'm going to say it. It is a natural selection virus. It is killing off some of the older and weaker people. It is killing off the stupid people that don't want to wear masks and don't think that they're not going to be immune and take it home to their family and end up infecting their family and then their family dies. A lot of black families have died this way because most of them think, oh, I'm not going to get infected, homie. I'm so good. They ain't going to get me. I'll take it home, no problem. And then they infect their whole family, their mom and dad at home that are like in their 50s, 60s, and then they get sick. Then they go to a hospital and then they sit there and they wonder, I shouldn't have fucking went home. Oh my God, I'm so dead. And then that's why they die. Because you have stupid people in society. And I'm not saying that's fucked up. That is fucked up. But it's because there's stupid people in society that need big brain to think for 5 fucking seconds. Unfortunately, big brain doesn't exist in today's society. Unfortunately, it's a fucking mini beer. I could smash multiple of these over my fucking head right now. I mean, with these fucking... Let me go over an article. I was going to hold off on it for another 5-10 minutes. Of a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old girl. As I'm going on Google yesterday, this is a fucking true story. Fucking true story. I wouldn't lie about this at all. I'm on my fucking Discord. I'm just hanging out with my free company on fucking Fly for Fun. I'm sitting in a chat and I'm going through Google. I'm looking for a podcast topic. I'm looking for something to talk about that I was going to talk about this morning. I said, fuck it. I'm going to do it tonight. Later on. So what was this? This was an article that was about a 66-year-old man, Pakistani man, that was an Uber driver, getting killed and carjacked by a 13 and 15-year-old. Now, before I even read the rest of the article, I automatically assumed in my head, statistically, my statistic big brain head, it was probably 2 black girls. Was I factually correct? Later I found out, yes, I was. And I shouldn't have... you know what? You can call me racist for that. It was just statistics in my head. I was counting it like a numbers game. What race is more likely, in terms of percentage across the United States, to be likely to commit a crime like that? What undereducated, race out there? Which families don't go to school? Which, and I don't blame the school system for this. These are teenagers. When you're a teenager... You have actual thought process. You know what's going on. You learn responsibility. When you're in middle school, they give you a locker. To have a locker combination to your books and shit. That's what they give to kids. That's what they gave me back in like fucking, I don't know, I think like 2005, right? And you think about this for a second. If they're able to be responsible and they can remember things, they can remember their teachers, their family, their friends, and, know what life and death is, own a pet. They're 13. They can own anything. I mean, they can own a hamster. They can own a fucking gerbil. They can own whatever. They can have a dog at like 15. Maybe a pet dog. And they're okay with taking a stun gun. Which I still, to this moment, have no idea how a 13 and 50-year-old girl got a hold of a fucking stun gun. They used it to rob a car while the guy was in it. Crashed the car, cared only about their phone, walked over his mangled fucking corpse looking for their phone, as if their phone had value more than the life, and then said fuck it and ran away. Then got caught. Big brain, obviously, that's a hardened criminal. You got 2 girls that ran away from a scene of a crime with intent to murder. They have a weapon. A stun gun can be used to kill. All you gotta do is point it at your heart. Go, shh. That's it. If you have a stun gun on and you leave it on long enough, it will kill you. It can kill. Go look it up. Enough voltage and enough time can stop your heart. It will fucking kill you. It's a gun. I mean, you could use it to temporarily stop someone, yes. But to, if you misuse it, especially an undertrained teenager not knowing how to fucking use a weapon, obviously, and shouldn't be using one, that shouldn't even have access to one, kills a man. Obviously, it's murder. And then for them to have the audacity, their parents and their lawyers to sit there and claim to have them say not guilty, that fucking disgusts me. That disgusts me. And it's just going to go to court sometime in June. Well, I'm out in Ohio, and here I'm sitting here, and I'm thinking to myself, how can our fucking justice system allow teenagers to go out and murder an adult and then get off scot-fucking-free, without any provocation? The one girl got off scot-free. Because the one, they offered a plea bargain, but then the other one is not even included. They just said, okay, one pled guilty to murder. But then all other counts were dropped. So the car theft, the weapon, I don't know, any of the fucking shit that she had done. All that, attempted burglary, attacking, nothing, none of that. None of those charges should matter to a juvenile. Like, okay. When you become lenient with criminals, they do the same shit again. When you give them leniency, they take it for a fucking mile. Okay. I don't know what the saying is, but if you give someone enough ground, they'll turn fucking 10 feet to 50 miles. Or, vice versa. They'll take advantage of it. They're not going to fucking learn. They're going to continue the same bullshit that they do every fucking day in this judicial system. It's fucking laughable. It's laughable. And the fact that I assumed that it was a black girl, I would have been more shocked if it was white chicks. If there were 2 white teenagers that did that, I would have taken my glasses off, been astounded, and be like, yes, they're fucking murderers, without a doubt. But it's the same fucking thing with even black children, teenagers. Same fucking thing. They had a weapon on them. It's intent. You think about it. If they were just trying to get their phone back and they didn't have any stun gun, I don't see the need to hijack their fucking car, beat up a 66-year-old man, and crash his car and leave him for dead. You think about that, right? If you tried to steal a car, straight up, as an adult, let's be honest here. If you try to steal someone's car, and you were armed, and you crashed it, and the guy's bleeding out, would you still call an ambulance, or would you run or try to find your phone device or whatever and try to look around and not care about the guy who's literally dying on the fucking ground, crushed by a car and body part mangled? Because a car was flipped on him. Yes, no? The pros and cons to this? Oh, my phone? Or someone's life that I don't care about because I was trying to steal his car and kill him. My days of being a teenager are over. We need boot camp for these kids. They have these Sally J's, Jesse Ralph show, but that's what these kids need is boot camp that will change some of them. No, I fucking agree. You have these kids in this fucking lifetime that they're undereducated, that most of them are coming from black families that homeschool, and then these kids go out and they do the same shit that their family members, their friends, the people on the block do. The same fucking crimes. It doesn't fucking change anything. Do you remember how back in the day, back in like the early 90s, there were less municipals and more community centers? Not centers, centers. These community centers promoted learning about life, friendship, friendliness, church, all this shit. It pushed people to be better. Dropped crime rate like a motherfucker. And when municipals saw this, when the town saw this, they weren't able to pay their police departments. So you know what they did? They got rid of the community centers. Crime rate increased. And then police, Blue Lives Matter. Blue Lives Matter got all their shit. And my podcast preview fucked up. What else is new? Fuck you, YouTube. But YouTube, fucking, I don't give a shit. But Blue Lives Matter, they get all their funding from crime. So obviously they're going to allow crime to run rampant. And the worst part is with these fucking police officers, how does an officer, okay, mind you, I'm trying to reload my page, but it's not loading. But anyway, let it go. I'm still alive. Hopefully it'll reset soon, because I can't see any comments until it reloads. But anyway, it's YouTube being slow. What I wanted to say was, how does, for example, go to Audit the Audit. Go down below in my description and click new tab on that. There is a video that was made by him, and at the very end of it, he goes on to say that one officer that made an arrest, or tried to make a false arrest, and got sued for $75,000. How does an officer arrests 253 black people in a year, with the population of his township only being 11% black. Oh, I don't know. Maybe they are undereducated, or maybe they're just selling drugs, or maybe the officer is racist, or maybe it's a little bit of a mix of all three. Because realistically speaking, none of those crimes would be happening if there was a community center that reached out to these troubled individuals. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it's not hard to make it a fucking assumption and say, hey, look, we have these undereducated people that are out here fucking committing crimes, and, we don't have the death penalty for an eye, which I firmly believe that. Now, there is cases where it's like, I don't know, how would I put this? How about this? No, I'm not even gonna get into that, because I could fucking rant about that all day. Say, for example, you hit someone's dog. The dog runs out. You literally have split second to react, and you hit their dog, and it kills them. That's not intent to murder. That's a complete fucking accident. Unfortunately, it's still murder. How would a court view that? Well, you'd have to physically prove that it is an accident. It's not like a human being. So if it was a child running out, let's say it's a child running out instead. Child gets hit and killed. Is the parent who let the kid run down the sidewalk and out into the middle of the street responsible? That looked away for that one instance, an unfortunate accident? Or is it the driver? Or is it the kid running out into the street that didn't know any better? Which of the three would be the result? Which three of those would a judge choose, or a legislator choose, to follow as a guideline for intent to murder for a death penalty, or to be put on death row? None. Because the kid is still young, can't process that, so he runs out into the street. Unfortunately, he or she dies. The parent, technically, would be responsible, because it's technically their property. They're on their drive-through, the kid runs down. Very unfortunate, but you should be paying attention to your kids at all times. They're still kids. They're still growing. I mean, I'm not saying a 2-3-year-old would be running out into the street like that, but maybe a 5 or 6-year-old, realistically. But, what about the driver? The driver is the one who hit him. Maybe they're old. They don't have the same reaction time. Maybe they're in their 40s. And maybe they're not too old to be retired, and maybe not have points entirely off their card. But still, that's going to mentally fuck up that driver. Maybe they weren't texting. Maybe they were actually driving, and they had almost no reaction time to stop. And if they have a dash cam like virtually fucking protects them. If they can show that they had minimal to zero fucking time to stop their car to prevent the death, the court's going to throw it out and say it's an unfortunate accident and charge both of them for time wasted. That's the unfortunate reality. But that is like one fucking instance where the death penalty, or no one should be put on death row at all. That is an unfortunate accident. I think that in a case like that, the driver should have 6 months license revoked, put through a driving program to, give them some time away from that, because that's a tragedy. That would mentally fuck that person up. Give them time away from it to think before they actually go back to driving, so that way they can mentally relieve themselves of that entire scenario. Because that takes a long time to recover from. Even 6 months is pretty short. But still, some people need to be able to go back and forth from work, so that's completely understandable too. I don't know. I feel like with the laws like that on death penalty are very, very fucking loose. We have these hardened criminals that are stealing shit from fucking places, that are crashing cars, stealing cars, doing fucking drugs. They're stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from fucking stores, people, domestically. And these people get all fucking scot-free. There are people that lie for 20, 30 fucking years, their actual house address. My uncle being one of them, which is disgusting. They will lie their house address, use other people's house addresses for 20, 30 years, be off the grid, collect Social Security, which is illegal. You have to report where you live. I feel like something like that, somebody should be put on federal death row, because you're stealing from the federal government for 20, 30 years when you think about that. To be unemployed, lazy, and not doing anything, and collecting Social Security for a fraudulent reason. Not just for the lied about address, but for multiple other reasons attached to that. Now, the only reason I know that is because some people in my family line are fucking scumbags, and some of them are actually really nice. Unfortunately, there just happens to be scumbags in the fucking world that are idiots, that don't put anything back into the economy, that don't want to work, especially during this fucking pandemic. You know, off topic, 20 minutes in, for this one little bit. You look around at all the retail places that got their signs up saying, we need people for every position, $200, $600, $1,000 sign-on bonus if you stay for 90 days. And yet our fucking unemployment rate is still low as shit. What needs to happen is for literally, if this country did this, it would save the fucking economy. If it shut down unemployment across every single fucking state in the United States for literally 90 days and said that no one is getting unemployment for at least 7 months, people would go right back to fucking work. There's not enough manufacturers to be able to drive out soda to fucking companies that need it. Don't have enough fucking meat, dairy, bakeries are fucking shutting down, restaurants are shutting down, fucking Walmarts are begging for employees. Targets are begging for employees. There's not enough fucking people because everyone's laxed the fuck back, fattened on their unemployment and fucking, the stimulus checks that they didn't even fucking earn, that they sat down and did nothing for. Me, on the other hand, me and my wife and so many other people have been fucking working, and it's been stressing us, giving us black eyes. We don't fucking get enough sleep from how much fucking shit. I could look up in that fucking air. Okay? That isn't shadow from the light from above my head. That is actual black in my eyes. That is actual black. That's fucking horrible. That's horrible. I shouldn't be like that. I'm going on 29 in a week. At my age, I shouldn't be like this. You know, like, I should be this young gentleman that very, very intelligent, very like-minded, could understand the law, could sit here and have a long fucking term debate with a fucking legislator, a whole round table of them, and tell them all to fuck off about their bullshit laws that make them money, and go for the actual realism of what the fucking country needs altogether. I mean, it's fucking big brain to me why there's no community centers. Community centers in every fucking state, every county in the area. Like, the county that I reside in, why isn't there one? There isn't one. There's not one that's publicly in use. There's not, like, an actual open center where there's temporary free housing or food, shelter, whatever. I get there's homeless shelters for that sort of thing, though, but they almost don't even exist here in Jersey. There's none. South Jersey has nothing. There is jack shit here. And that's just not here either. It's all across America. It's all across America. It's fucking insane. But that one instance that I read in that article, I've seen images on it on Google. It's fucking graphic. It's sad. It should not have fucking happened. These kids need to be put back into boot camp. Boot camp. Speaking of boot camp, do you remember when, the fucking Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts were still a fucking thing? They were very active before the scout leader pedophilia cases that were arising. When that shit was active, we had kids that were in the middle of actively doing something else that was good, rather than doing all this awful shit like throwing rocks at cars or fucking, I don't know what the fuck a kid would do at that age. Spray paint a building. Throw cans of soda at someone's fucking car or, their property or whatever. I don't know what the fuck a kid would do at that age. I don't remember what I did with that age. You know what? I do remember what I did. My dad told me to go out in the street and play with razor blades because that was a smart thing to do. My father was a very funny man. But the point that I was trying to make with this whole thing with those two girls, okay, they should be put on death row. There's no reason why they shouldn't be put on death row. Now, they both had intent to steal the car. They were both trying to get in it. They were both well aware of what the fuck was going on. When you're 13 You can, at that age, make a decision. Hey, I want to date this boy or this girl at school. They can make that lifelong decision. Hey, maybe I want to stay with them for the rest of my life or whatever at that age. Or maybe, maybe this is the first of many things or whatever. They're kids. But at the same time, they're consciously able to make that decision. They know the value of life. Hey, I think Jeremy is more nicer than that other person. I want to date them instead because I think they have better qualities. They are able to determine at that age what they want. And if they're able to determine at that age what they want or whatever, they should be able to have that. It's common sense at this point. At 9 years old, you're going to be watching a fucking TV show like Power Rangers or whatever the fuck is on nowadays. I don't know, Teen Titans Go or whatever that's on fucking Cartoon Network nowadays. I don't know what's on Cartoon Network anymore. I've stopped watching cartoons long ago. But my point is, the fucking kids, they care more about what's coming on the cartoon the next fucking day or the next night, and then they're eating like peanut butter and jelly still and juice with their parents at 9 years old. Maybe they're in school, or maybe whatever. The parents would keep a close eye on them. At that age, you still don't know what you want. You still can't really make a great decision. Like, most 9-year-olds can't take care of a hamster, can't take care of a goldfish without supervision from the parent. It's facts. You look at the statistics of how old a certain child needs to be. You use that as your research piece, and then you take that research piece, and then you show it to legislators and say, hey, look, this is the age range of how children think and how they can make, borderline legal decisions about life or death. And then take those to a legislator, and then fucking make laws around that. How fucking simple is that? That sounds so simple. We're in a world where we have fucking phones, technology, we can go on the internet at the fucking click of a button right out of our fucking pockets. And yet we can't come up with that? Is that, like, big brain? Have I lost my fucking mind that I can't, we can't get that kind of data? Get it to some legislators, pass legislators to the fucking mayors of all the townships, the counties, the state, and then so forth, and then finally make it an actual, countrywide law? Is it that fucking difficult? No, well, not really. It is somewhat difficult because we have fucking jackasses like Mitch McConnell in our fucking offices as a Republican leader, or Nancy Pelosi, who's a complete fuck up in the seat. I hate the entire political world at the moment. It's a complete fucking joke. And the funny thing is, let me, off topic here, one more thing. The Black Lives Matter protests that happened in my town 1 year ago, while they were marching right past my workplace and heading to my local municipal, and I have it all on film. I have all of it on film. If anyone ever wants to watch, I will be glad to show it to them. They were all chanting anti-Trump messages the whole fucking time, calling Trump a racist. But, let's forget that Biden's doing his little re-infrastructure plan that is going to rip down a symbolic bridge that was once used, to avoid slavery in the South. A historic bridge that has been historic to black people for years. Let that one sink in. He's going to rip down a bridge that has been there for decades. All for re-infrastructure. It's hidden in re-infrastructure. It's not mentioned anywhere. He's going to rip down an old bridge that was used by black people to escape slavery. Think about that. I guess Trump's not so much of a bad person after all, considering he left that bridge alone, huh? Anti-Trump, right? I guess because you guys just wanted a different president and you're mindless fucks and sheeps, right? It takes a big, knowledgeable brain to fucking think for 5 seconds what the world actually needs and what the world should not fucking want, and stop being sheeple. It's... For me, as an intellectual, to fucking sit here and see this stupid shit every day hurts my brain. It makes me fucking drink. Okay? It drives me to drink. These podcasts drive me to want to fucking drink. It's fucking amazing. I don't even drink anymore. I'm fucking brain fucked at this point. How can we get to a society that allows, a 13, 15-year-old to get a stun gun, fucking hijack an Uber driver, to go for a joyride, crash, let him die, and then, we give him a plea deal? We give him a plea deal to get him to, reconcile, to actually admit to something, to charge him with something. What are we pleading? They did it. They committed the crime. They claim not guilty. Obviously, they're going to claim not guilty. So all you do is get a jury of several people to make a decision, and then that's it. Closed case. They don't need a fucking plea deal. It doesn't matter if they're kids. Their name shouldn't be withheld. They should be known who the fuck they are, and they should be accounted for everything that they've done. It's simple. And you could sit here and tell me for days, hour on end, oh, it's because they're 13, 15. Oh, it's because they're black that you want them to die. Oh, it's because they're white you want them to die. Oh, it's because they're women you want them to die. It's because they're men they want them to die. How about they just fucking killed someone, they should die? Is that simple enough for you? If I came to your house, to one of you random people that are watching me, if I came to your house, and let's say this is a knife, I come in and I stab one of your best friends. Or I stab your mother to death. For an example. And then I walk out the front door, get in my car, and I drive off. Am I not held accountable? Yes, the fuck I am. And I should be put on death row for that. Same thing out in public. He's in his car. That is his property. Think about it. He's in his property. He's in his car. That is technically where he resides. So people try to break the fucking, steal his shit, and kill him. They're armed. Same thing should apply. It's top of the fucking knowledge to you. I mean, really. Now, shit like this is why I want to talk about a little bit about the lethal injection law, too, since I'm at the half-hour point. South Carolina has been changing up their death penalty a little bit. Now, I wanted to go over this a little bit because I thought it was interesting. How is it that South Carolina can suddenly throw on firing squad and electric chair to people that were convicted during the law where only lethal injection was allowed? Now, how are they going to fucking suddenly push that on those people? How can you go from allowing simple lethal injection to go, peacefully, quietly, and be done with it, which these death row inmates agreed to it. They straight up said, look, we'll take it. But then you change it to firing squad. I would think the firing squad, A, is more wasteful, B, is more painful, and the electric chair is old, outdated, and just mundane. That's like barbaric. I can't remember how much electricity it takes to kill a person, too. That fucking sucks. I don't know. This society, this world is completely fucked up. It is upside down. It makes no absolute fucking sense. It is a mindfuck that this planet is still even fucking revolving and that we haven't gone to war with one another and killed us all yet. Think about it. Why hasn't this world gone to shit? Well, realistically, the legislators can't even keep it together. Our presidents are completely backwards. Our super radical groups out there don't know what the fuck they're doing and are completely trying to raid our capital. And then we have, finally, an act that is passing that avoids any and all legal consequence to research in who, raided the Capitol. But then the people who were running the Capitol don't want you to know that. And they don't want to be researching who raided the Capitol. So why is it that they can't research who's raiding the Capitol if that's their main primary concern? Hey, that's another thing. This country makes no sense. There's too many secrets and backwards bullshit that is fucking hilarious to poke fun at. I could sit here and fucking write a news article for fucking days. I could write a whole fucking year-long book about how fucking silly the people are. It's astounding to me. And you know what? It's not even that. I don't think that, for people that steal money, or for fucking people that, fucking steal cars, or do drugs, or fucking steal drugs, or whatever the fuck they do, or whatever crime, drug larceny, whatever, there are some that do all that shit for cash to pay for their mother's, fucking medical bills or whatever, their father's medical bills because they can't pay for it. But then you can remember, you can get a job and a loan, and if that doesn't fucking work out, unfortunately, you have to turn to that shit. I couldn't understand it then. If you had to steal for, your family, your kids, to take care of them, I could somewhat understand that. In a non-perfect world, I could see that. In a perfect ideal world, they would have a job and be able to do it and handle all that. Unfortunately, the unemployment rate is so fucking sky high that it's probably out my fucking ass and out of my goddamn mouth at this fucking rate from how high it's been going. It is insane. But these people need to go back to fucking work, because when they're not in work, if you don't have something to distract you, you do stupid shit like this. Here's a fact. That 13 and 15-year-old girl that did that, if our schools never closed because of the pandemic, they'd be in school right now. They would have never done that. Fucking straight up fact. Think about that. Big fucking brain answer right there. Solution. School. All the schooling is done online. Most of the adults my age that are in their 20s, 30s, in that age range, they don't realize that the kids that are, when we were back in high school, these kids are now in middle school, high school, and they're doing virtual learning, and they don't even have to go to their class, or they have to, and they have to sit on their phone and say, hey, teacher, this is my class today. Hey, thank you, I'm joining. I'm lagging. By the way, I'll hang up. It's like that South Park episode of the fucking pandemic special with Cartman, when he just puts up his fucking photo, and it's like a freeze frame. It's like, oh, my camera's frozen, and he mutes himself. When we get to that fucking point of, a society where we can't even fucking keep up with our own ruling, our own district, our own townships, our community, and then we have these fucking death penalty laws, or theft laws, or larceny laws, or whatever. I could sit here and talk days about how fucking stupid laws are, but the grandest one of all is the death penalty and public execution, because I have said this up and down. I believe when somebody gets put on death row for murder, they're proven completely, without a shadow of doubt, 100% murder, with all evidence supporting it. And then if they get a actual, guilty plea out of the actual person, and they agree to an actual death row sentence, I believe in public execution. We need to go back to that shit. As barbaric as it was, our crime rate was low back in the day when we had it, because it instilled fear to not commit crime. When you instill fear in people of death, they don't do stupid shit because they don't want to die. Because people want to continue to live. They want to continue to live for their friends, their families, their girlfriends, boyfriends, fucking wife, husband, kids, whatever, down the line. Because if we don't have the death penalty or public execution, and it's always floating around in multiple different judicial systems, multiple different courts, and they're reinstating this and reinstating that, why the fuck are we even playing with it? Just fucking re-enable it. It's like a Minecraft server with PvP off. Just turn it back the fuck on. I mean, really, what are you losing? You got people that are fucking robbing stores at gunpoint, convenience stores and shit. Fun fact, a convenience store right down the street from me last month was shot up by a guy. 2 people dead, 4 injured. It was a dollar store. I went there literally a day ago before that happened. That's fucking crazy. And you know what? They didn't even steal anything. They ran. Apparently some person in the store, an actual social justice warrior, pulled out a gun on the guy and shot him in the leg. And he ran off, limping. And then he hopped in his car and drove away while police, helicopters, and even fucking black SUVs were running through the town trying to find the guy. And they eventually got him. It's fucking impressive. But the fact that it happened, people were able to get a hold of a gun. And that's another thing with gun laws, too, when it comes to public execution. If you're armed, I feel like when you hold a weapon at all, in public at all, or in your own car, that is intent to use a weapon. A weapon can be accidentally discharged, even by officers. Officers accidentally kill people from in the car, outside the car, in action. It's very common, unfortunately. When it comes to being in your own home, however, you can own a weapon. It's your home. You can collect weapons as a hobby. I completely support the whole right to own. However, when right to own is not secure and people are able to sneak out your weapons and you have them not 100% locked down from everyone, including your own kids, even as an adult, or even as, let's say, for example, you have a 22-year-old son who's living with you and you're 40 and you have a rifle in your gun closet or whatever and it's locked up tight, but he still sees you opening it up one day and he fucking copies down the code and he gets in there. Even if it's I feel like it should be hidden, locked, and even locked from yourself. Because if they get to it, you're technically responsible. They get to it, you're responsible. But then they're the adult, they're the one going off killing with your gun. So who's responsible then? Is it both of you? Because technically it's your gun that the 22-year-old would fire at that point. So is it the one who killed with the gun, or is it you who own the gun as well? It's kind of both, because he would have never have had a gun if you had it. So that comes down to the line of owning decommissioned guns being fair game. But actual still working guns and, live rounds, actual weaponry, swords, knives. Swords and knives I couldn't care for, because they're their own thing. They're basically knives. You can, if you want a knife, you can have a knife. You want an over-elongated sword for your defense to, one-shot stab someone in your own defense, fine, go ahead. You want to be like one of them Japanese soldiers that literally run bonsai with a fucking knife out like this, going ready, go for it. But, again, it goes back to the realm of realism here. You can't have a fucking no death penalty in the fucking world if you're going to constantly debate it. You might as well just decide on it. And it especially plays a role with race. It plays a huge part with gender. And it plays a huge part with, I believe, religion sometimes. Religion, not so much. I think I remember reading something about a Satanist church or something like that. A church of Satan worshippers that were public. They were public. And upon being arrested for a crime they committed, like an actual local crime, I don't remember what it was. I think they robbed a convenience store or something. They were asking for the death penalty. They wanted to die. Drunk, I guess. I'm just like, what the fuck? But you get times like that where you're like, no, you have to deny him. Because as stupid as that is, that's not a reason that we have to put him to death. Because that's a lawsuit that could open up right there. Because there's no intent, no reason to do so. They haven't caused first-degree murder. Now, if they killed one another, and there's complaints about it, yeah, they have to take action against it. Even if there was no action and then they found it and there's probable cause and there is actual cause and proof, they would still have to take it then, too. That's what's amazing. Why would that even be a fucking thing? There needs to be probable cause. It's fucking crazy. You could, in this fucking world, you could hijack your girlfriend's Facebook account, lock her the fuck out of it, and make her look like a scumbag, and then the police won't do anything to you. No law enforcement will do anything. No cyber police will do anything. Nothing will happen. It's like, what? You could fucking, you could take someone's Minecraft account, which, a joke. I'm not obviously going to do anything like that. And all these things that I'm saying, by the way, all complete jokes. None of that has ever happened. I've never done anything like that. The point that I'm trying to make, however, is that there is fucking instances in this world where people should actually be fucking dying. For, in the legal world, be put to an actual death row sentence. Now, a old anime TV show like Death Note, and again, it's a TV show, you could say that, you could sit here and tell me, well, that's a cartoon adaptation, that it's not real, nothing, da-da-da-da-da, you could fucking tell me all kinds of shit, how it's all made up, it's in writing, it's not real. But it's writing, and it's someone's opinion on the political aspect of death of a criminal. Should criminals die? That's the main theme of the story. And it makes a pretty good argument. The whole way. The whole story is like, oh, well, killing criminals is bad, though, but there's too many of them, and they get away with it, and courts don't take them out. There's people that get off scot-free. This girl, if this 15-year-old girl that pled guilty to murder does not get death row, or at least 30 years in prison with no bail posted, I will be pissed the fuck off. That girl deserves to be locked up until she's 40, 50 years old and not given anything upon getting out. No reward upon release. Because it's still murder. The guy was 60. You could say, well, he's 66 years old. He's old. He didn't have much longer left. But the guy looked pretty fucking young and spry for his age, for 66. Didn't need to die yet. I mean, do I look that old? I'm about half that guy's age almost. Do I look that old? Do I deserve to, get robbed by a couple black girls with a stun gun? Have my window kicked in, my car flipped over on me and crushed to death? And then not get criminally charged and put to death? Eye for an eye, I think they should die. They shouldn't get a second chance. It's really simple. If you statistically kill someone, you should statistically be put to death. If you had intent in the first place, obviously. It's common sense. Common courtesy. If I punch someone in the face, I should be getting punched back in the face. If not once or twice. At least once. I think that's pretty fair. But, I'm going to end my Such Bullshit podcast a little bit early because it is midnight. I've yet to sleep. I do have work at 9 in the morning. But I wanted to end this off on a positive note. I know that this topic was a little dark, even for me. Like even the previous one I did about pedophilia. I wasn't too comfortable with it, but I did it anyway because I wanted to talk about how there are scummy fucking people in the U.S., not just here in Jersey, but like everywhere in the world. It's not pretty. It's not great. I don't use any examples unless I say they're examples. But again, this all goes back to the matter of if it works. And should the death penalty be allowed it back into the whole of the United States? And my ultimate opinion is yes. I feel like the death penalty, regardless of age, gender, race, or whatever, if you kill someone and had intent to kill, you should be killed and put on death row. Well, killed on death row, basically. Not by firing squad or electric chair, just injection. Because you could sit there and say, well, how am I ever going to learn if I'm dead? How do I learn to not commit murder if I'm dead? Well, you unfortunately took someone's life and had intent to do it. No one should get a second chance for that. Not one death, not 3 deaths, not several deaths, not fucking 20 deaths. I mean, none of it. None of it at all. And we have these fucking people that were shooting up schools that are still in custody to this day. Think about that one for a second. Kids that had shot up schools with actual guns, that have killed kids, are still alive. In jail for life. And we're wasting our tax dollars on these people. Whereas they could be put to death and we wouldn't have to pay a cent more for their criminalized life. Where all they're doing behind bars is literally taking a shower, going back to her room and sleeping, and maybe going outside on a playground for maybe 5-10 minutes, and then back inside after recess, only to be locked up in a room by themselves, in a crappy bed, in a jail cell with bars. With, 3 square meals a day. That sounds like a comfy life. They don't have to do jack shit. Boring life, sure, but comfy. They don't have to do anything for the rest of their lives. Why are we paying that? Why are we paying that? Someone tell me, please. By all means. Give me a debate on that. Why are we paying for criminals to be behind bars that have committed mass murder? Please, I'll take my headphones off. Anyone, just tell me, please. I'm listening. No one? Nothing at all. I mean, I'm not astounded. Not amazed, not shocked, not surprised. I pretty much not expected the answer that I got, but pretty much expected no debate, because they shouldn't be in fucking jail anymore. They should be pretty much put to death. It's a simple matter of numbers, rights, and judgment. And it's not hard to judge the human mind, the human soul, and human intent. Not hard at all. It's common sense and instinct. So that was my Such Bullshit podcast, episode 23. I'm ending it at the 50-minute mark instead of an hour. I try to keep these under an hour. My next one is my 24th podcast. I do not have a title or a topic yet. I literally did 2 back-to-back. I don't normally do two in a day. This is a first for me, and the only reason I decided to do 2 in this week alone was because I hadn't put anything out in over a month, and I wanted to put something out. So this was me doing that and giving the double special, so to speak. But 24, if I have to say anything, it's not going to be about LOLs. It's not going to be about a video game. I'm going to try to make it completely different. I'm not going to make it a race topic. I'm not going to make it about Black Lives Matter. I'm not going to make it about anything in general. It could be about a YouTuber. It could be about a friend. Maybe I'll talk about how friendship fucking works with fucking people, because there are fucking people that I've befriended that would rather, and again, that this unfortunately that goes to the line of drama and not bullshit. But I view this as bullshit now, whereas back then I viewed it as drama, as a topic, whereas at this point it's just them playing ignorance and them being pretty much bullshit themselves. When you think about it, people put up this gigantic wall in front of themselves for years on end, and then when they finally get around to saying, hey, I should talk to you, we finally start talking, and then, they realize that they spent a few years hating you for no reason. And then they're like, hey, maybe we should hang out sometime. And it's within those years of the time that they had that wall up, that person should smack themselves upside the head. Now, there's a good reason that people put a wall up, and then sometimes there's just stupid reasons, like, oh, I don't want to be friends anymore. No instinct, no reason, no rationality. I'm just done, man. When you get to that, there's something wrong with you. Get medically checked out. Get psychologically help. Get some psychological help as soon as you can. But anyway, that is the end of my 23rd podcast. I feel like those 2 girls in particular should be put on death row. That is my 100% opinion. They do not deserve the future that was planned out for them by their parents, by their families, by their communities, by their legislators, by their fucking townships, by their teachers, by their fucking schools, kids, their boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. They should not be allowed to have anything. They lost that right when they took away a life. It's as simple as that. So I'm going to end my podcast. If anyone wants to go back, read the articles down below. You can read the articles down below in order. I will read them off as I close out my podcast. The first article is about how those girls were originally not pleading guilty. They're pleading not guilty, and then months later they plead guilty. The fourth link is about the South Carolina fighting death penalty rights, which they're changing up their death penalty laws. And a side note, if anyone is interested in the legal aspect of law in general, I highly recommend that you look up the YouTube channel Audit the Audit. I follow them very often. Occasionally I will pull up one of their videos on my way to work, and I'll just have it like an audiobook in my head, and I'll listen, because it is a great way to on the fly learn how real-time law works, with like cops pulling you over, especially because the laws are different state to state when it comes to police stops. And there's always an issue when they try to sorry about that, lost my voice. There's always an issue when they try to issue a citation, or they try to force a moral compass onto you, so to speak. They'll make assumptions, and those assumptions later come around to bite them in the fucking ass when you're able to call them out on it, if they try to sit there and silent interrogate you. And that's when you turn around and pull the fast, big brain cards, and immediately they shut their fucking mouths and start getting angry because they can't put anything on you. Their job's at risk. They're scared of you at that point because they pulled you over with bullshit intent. It happens. So do take a look at the content down below. Do subscribe to me, follow me, like this podcast, and again, join my Discord. I don't have the Discord link in this description, again, because I just got lazy. Check out the other podcasts. It may have it. I don't know. Go look around. But again, thank you for joining me tonight. I don't know when my 24th podcast is coming. Give me like a week. I'll probably do one on my birthday or something. Anyway, good night, everyone.